All rise. We will lever. Please be seated. Vous asseoir.
Thank you very much. And witness, welcome back. Mr. Kinkatwa, please continue. We're in open session.
Good afternoon, Mr. Witness.
Sijambo.
Now, the last thing I wanted to ask you about this issue of the song which in the interview was said to have been played by Mr. Sang about Bado Mapambano. Could you confirm if it is common knowledge in Kenya as to who sang it?
Hapa Kenya, Wakenya wanajua kwamba aliyeimba wimbo huo ni Otieno Kajwang'.
And so, in fact, if the people in number 19 in our list and the prosecution wanted to confirm, it would have been easily available in public sources, isn't it?
Nambari 19 wangeenda kwa umma wangelipata jawabu kabisa.
Now, witness, I want us to go to something different, which is captured in an interview you gave. And for the parties in court, it is Ken-OTP-0085-0773. And that is at tab 25. Prosecution brother. I would like us to go to line 21. Now, witness, you recall having explained to the prosecution in various paragraphs Mr. President, may I correct myself? It's actually line 341 that I have in mind. Line 341 of the transcript in tab 25. And that is at page Ken-OTP-0085-0784. Now, Mr. Witness, this is what you said when you are being interviewed, and starting from line 341, this is what you, or 339, this is the question that you asked. Is there something else you'd like to ask about this?
kwa serikali ya Kenya.
Now, Mr. Witness, could you confirm that looking at the face of the document, it is indicated Reporters Sans Frontiers, into brackets, Paris, and the heading is Kenya. Government imposes dangerous and counterproductive news blackout, and then it has the date 31st December 2007. Can you see that, Mr. Witness?
Ndio naiona.
Now, Witness, I will read a few paragraphs for the record about particulars of this ban, and this is what it says in the first paragraph. Warning. Warning the government of the dangers of ban on live radio and TV news reports that it announced yesterday. Reporters Without Borders today condemned the climate of fear imposed on the privately owned media in the wake of Kenya's disputed presidential election. The news blackout could result in streets being ruled by rumor and disinformation, the Press Freedom Organization said. This decision, therefore, is counterproductive in as much as it constitutes a de facto ban on all news programs. It imposes a climate of intimidation and plunges the country into confusion. We call on the government to talk to media executives and editors and to let them work freely so that the public is properly informed. Internal Security Minister John Michuki announced the live broadcast bans shortly after President Mwai Kibaki was proclaimed winner of the controversial election. The Information and Communication Minister said the suspension of live broadcast in quotation has been ordered in the interest of public safety and tranquility, a government press release said. In prevailing environment, some people are using the media to call for violence and to incite members of the public to engage in violence. Most of the broadcast media suspended all their news programs, effectively plunging Kenya into a news blackout. And then I will read the last paragraph, Mr. Witness. The situation is tense, with deadly clashes being reported in Nairobi and several provincial cities. Local journalists said news was now circulating mainly by means of SMS messages. Kiss FM host Caroline Mutoko asked listeners not to cite Kiss as a source of reports in their SMS messages because it was not true and because it could result in the station being closed. Radio Lake Victoria, a station based in western city of Kisumu that openly supported opposition candidate Raila Odinga, has been forced off air as a result of what Deputy Station Manager Seth Olo called government sabotage. Mr. Witness, you can see that what I've just read, isn't it?
Ndio nimeona.
The spelling of Caroline Mutoko. Caroline is as usual. Mutoko is M-U-T-O-K-O. Now, witness paragraph 4. In paragraph 4, there is a sentence to this effect. Local broadcast journalists said they were afraid the police could raid their stations and order them to close. Can you see that, Mr. Witness?
Ndio naiona.
Now, witness, as a general question, as a general proposition, do you recall if any of the media houses has suffered that fate, being specifically that the government caused a raid and a closure of their station?
Ilikuwepo lakini sikumbuki stesheni.
Would you recall if I mentioned that it was Kenya Television Network, KTN?
Ndio.
Now, at paragraph 3, the last sentence, witness, it says this: a government press release said, in the prevailing environment, some people were using the media to call for violence and to incite members of public to engage in violence. Mr. Witness, could you confirm that from that statement from government, the purpose of banning live news broadcast was specifically to make sure that nobody was inciting violence, as is alleged in your statement to the prosecution?
Serikali ilikuwa nataka kuzuia furugu ambazo zilikuwa zikiendelea.
And which is exactly what is alleged Mr. Sang was doing in your statement to the prosecution, isn't it?
Sio hivyo, hata mimi sikuwa namjua sana wala stesheni yenyewe.
To play out an audio of what Mr. Sang said about the peace accord, and this is what he said on the 29th February 2008. The audio's reference is Ken-D11-0014-0118, and the translation and transcription, which was filed this morning, has been assigned ERN numbers Ken-D11-0020-001, and we are in the process of doing the ERN. I request to play timestamp 7.11 to 7.30.
Mgejitab kwa njir kutukul emite embetutab rani betutab kumut-kasi tarikit 29 betut nebo let eng arawetab oeng kenyitab 2000.
Mr. KenyaMOJA.com, you might want to check for the correct ERN number. You indicated on the record, is it 0118? or 0188.
Your Honor, the audio CRN is Ken-D11-0014-0188. And the ERN assigned to the first transcript and translation is Ken-D11-0020-001. Now, witness, a short part of that audio has been played. Could you confirm if you had Mr. Sang mention the date, and if you weren't able to, I will have it played again. Did you hear the date?
Nimesikia tarehe 29 mwezi wa pili.
Mr. President, I'll ask the question again. I thought I had the witness say 29, but the translation say 26. I'll ask the witness. Do you recall the date, Mr. Witness? I could play the audio again if you need to counter-check.
Why don't you play it again?
Witness, I'll play again the audio, and then you will let us know if you can pick out the date. And that is, for the rest of the members of the court, it is at page 1, paragraph 3, starting with "Greetings, Kalenjin listener." Witness, please listen closely.
Mgejitab Kalenjin Witkole imite embetutab rani betutab kumut-kasi tariki 29 betut nebo let eng arawetab oeng kenyitab 2007 amejatajen Witkole imite eng tetutienyo nebo kas lene emet olene akwe abaibai ne olen kityo kongoi.
Witness, did you hear the date and the day of the week?
Tarehe 29 mwezi wa pili.
Did you also and did you hear that it is Friday, the last day of the month?
Ndiyo nimesikia liko Friday.
Now, witness, Mr. Sang says it is the 29th February 2007. It is our position that that was a mistake in what he said. It should be 2008, but we will deal with that later on. Now, I would like to play the next timestamp, which is 11:58 to 14:05. And, Your Honor, that is at page 3 of the transcript and translation.
Binetkegi kumutai iyegu chito oginye magemeche biik chetepchen kabuche kole kiabut eng form 4 achicha imuchi iyegu chi mi biik chikotoune ng'ony akikoba kwait Kibot University, Sipkwai Masters, or Gitindo D in class form 4. So you can make it, my dear brother and sister. Amajachernol, Imugokse, Mamigina, Mamigina, Ubiki Jankimi by Shoni, Kumiling University Konyor by Shet. Again, what could get out by Shen, meaning Kosoma, Tibolo, Gutaso, Tinguno, Kutindo Jita Masters, Kikura Doctor, so and so. Eh? No PhD, like a
Mr. President, may I apologize. The timestamp that had been played was irrelevant. It should be timestamp 12:58 to 14:05. And with your permission, I'll play that now. Mr. Witness, please listen closely. 12:58. Your Honors and the people in court, that is visible from the transcript and the translation. There is a timestamp 12:58 and 14:05 on top of page 4.
Agents chebo emet kusubkei ak ngalekab lewenishetab tarik 27 ko eng rani kemongyin arawetab somok eng emetab Kenya tab keyai lewenishet koboiboiyet missing eng kokoshinet nekokoshin chamainik eng oretab iman noto ODM ak PNU chekibeligei kokoshin kole ongepchei kandoinatet sikosobe emoni. Kokingolole amut kele Nairobi City Council kiyai kit nebo kamanut kokosub akichek emet komugul ako kokosom angot akwek kole kisome anyu Raila Kibaki kokoyonjin as Olen maya nguno kelen kongoi kit nebo kamanut kongetyo wabunge yoekse tarik lo ko lazima kosirta ngalecho kochut sheria. Chito nemabire kura kosirta kochut sheria kumeche siketebe kele ing'o isire Kibaki, isire President Kibaki, isire Raila Odinga, isire Anani, isire Kikwete President of Tanzania, isire Kraka Machel anakelen Krasha Machel kwondop poisho kaya chiki president ako sai kwondop ne president of South Africa nekikomuny isire pichoto tugul isire mka.
Witness. Mr. President, could I read the translation and ask the witness, or should I ask him to summarize first?
See if he can give us the gist of it.
Mr. Witness, I request you to give us a summary of what you heard, a brief summary.
Mtangazaji alikuwa anapongeza mapatano ambayo yalikuwa yamefanyika siku moja kabla siku hiyo, na kaunga mkono na kapongeza hiyo mapatano, na kaomba wabunge waweze kuunga mkono mapatano hayo na mambo ya nchi yaendelee mbele.
Witness, the translators were not able to translate what you said. I request you again to summarize what you heard Mr. Sang say. Briefly, please.
Mtangazaji alisema kuwa amepongeza mapatano ambayo yalitokea siku moja kabla siku hiyo kati ya Raila na Kibaki, na akayapongeza na kasi wabunge waweze kuunga mkono mapatano hayo na nchi endelee.
Mr. Witness, before I read how we have translated what was said, and so as to avoid doubt, could you confirm whether Mr. Sang is congratulating members of parliament or was urging them to do something else?
Aliwaomba wapatane, kuwe na amani, waendeleze nchi. Na akafurahia mapatano yaliyotiwa saini kati ya Raila na Kibaki.
Now, witness, I will read in English how that audio was translated, and then you will please confirm if it is a fair translation of what you heard. Mr. President, I'm reading from the English translation from the line marked 1258, Joshua Sang. And this is what it says. And now, let us turn to the major national issue that relates to the 27th December election. Today, 3 months since the general elections in Kenya, we rejoice in the agreement that the two parties fairly reached, ODM and PNU. They have agreed to share power so that the nation may heal from the violence. We were talking yesterday about the important step made by Nairobi City Council. The whole nation has followed their footsteps. And you too had said, we are requesting Raila and Kibaki to come to an agreement. They have agreed. It is well. Now all we can say is thank you. The remaining important task is for the members of parliament. MPs, when you resume on 6th, you must pass these issues into law. We will be asking anyone who does not vote to ratify these issues into constitution. Who are they? Are you more important than President Kibaki? Are you more important than Raila Odinga? Are you more important than Annan? Are you more important than Kikwete, the president of Tanzania? Are you more important than Gracia Machel, the wife of 2 former presidents, and who is now the wife of a retired South African president? Are you more important than those people? Witness, is that a fair translation of what you heard in Kalenjin?
Ndiyo, ni hivyo tafsiri.
Now, witness, I'm sure the translators will be able to do the spellings, Mr. President, these personalities, just to save time.
That's why it's important to give the interpreters and court reporters these things ahead of time so that they can follow and interpret.
I must apologize on this one. I should have, Mr. President. We would normally do it. I am sorry about this one.
Yes, you can assist them later on with the corrections.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. Witness, my question therefore is, in the statement, you were reported as saying that Mr. Sang was not happy with the peace accord. Could you confirm that from the audio, the opposite is true?
Yeye aliunga mkono mapatano na ikamfurahisha sana. Niliyoyasema yalikuwa nambari 19 walionishawishi.
And from that excerpt, could you confirm that Mr. Sang is urging members of parliament to support the agreement, the peace agreement? Otherwise, Kenyans would be very unhappy with them.
Is he really in a position to confirm that is what Mr. Sang has said? So far, from the testimony of this witness. Can he really confirm that? Did he not say he does not recognize Mr. Sang's voice? Has he now agreed that it is Mr. Sang that is speaking?
Let me rephrase the question, Mr. President. The point occurred to me. My question is more whether what was said in the audio is to that effect. The question of whether it's Mr. Sang's voice is an issue we can deal with on another occasion. Mr. Witness, do you recognize Mr. Sang's voice?
Mimi sikuwa nasikia sauti ya Sang, lakini nimesikia yaliyosemwa kwenye matangazo hayo.
And so
Your Honors, I believe that the English booth is trying to say something to us.
They have a way of telling us. I haven't.
I see the interpreters in the English booth waving at me, so I'm trying to telegraph the information to someone in the courtroom.
Or maybe they're waving across the bridge. All right. Mr. Keegan Caswell, we have to do it again.
Mr. Witness, what you said was it wasn't possible to translate. I will ask you to answer that question again. And the question I had put to you is whether you are in a position to recognize Mr. Sang's voice.
Siwezi kutambua sauti ya Sang kwa sababu sikuwahi nimesikia, lakini akiongea kwenye radio vile nimesikia amejitaja jina. Nikasikia yale amesema.
And so, Mr. Witness, all the questions I've asked you about Mr. Sang, your confirmation is what you heard on the audio as opposed to the question of whether it was Mr. Sang or somebody else, isn't it?
Nimeyasikia saizi kupitia kwa audio.
Now, Mr. Witness, I'll play you two last portions of that audio, then we'll leave that issue. The next timestamp I wish to play is timestamp 1451 to 1637. That is page 4 into page 5 of the translation and transcription.
Kongoi, kile kongoi mising tugul chukomite anan kile jini anan koro kongoi amu muitaengung anget ale kikechotin kikechubin lakini koile ngano asaru biikab Kenya kongoi nyornyo tebi kobotech akimi komie Kofi Annan not al kukochi kainet ngiro biikab Kolenjin konai tukokochin biik kainet chiko mi lule biik uchi akikure ngo noto angatol nek so mwaching yo koyin kongoi kinanen kongoi Mkapa kongoi Machel kongoi President Kikwete noto ko chairman of African Union negonye betutap amut ko chitab kokwet kilen kongoi kora President Mwai Kibaki amu koyan akole o emet kosir chichak koyan akine Raila kongoi mising negonyo Raila Odinga koai kit nebo kamanut tukuchoto kemokyini emoni amu isi angondenam chike kandoinatet amamachin biik iliabak maikopchei singolen kosasin cheboli kochamin cheboli itebi komie eng emet so kilejin kongoi mising kongoi kora biik chekoindochin ng'alalutik kobun chamainik tuwai biikab PNU kondochin Martha Karua Mutula Kilonzo Sam Ongeri kilijin akin Wetengula Moses kuma kwa kasit inye ak biik chuk sirik kwak komosi kokomo komite Dr. Sally Koskei ak William Samoei Arap Ruto Kipchirchir kuboto Orengo tetyo konamji akine Musalia Mudavadi akile deputy captain ko kuma kongoi kora ngasit nekowaya Kipkoech ko kilen kongoi mising kokotar boisienwa so kisojini kounoto agen ale bendi nguno kepchee ngalecho kumameche sikekonek takatet biikab kot.
Witness, I will read out to you the English translation of what we just heard. If you could kindly confirm if it is a fair translation of what you heard. This is what the person who was speaking said. So we say thank you to all those who participated. Anan, we first thank you to Anan for his perseverance. I know you have been mocked and ridiculed, but you ignored it all so you may save the people of Kenya. Thank you, brother. Stay with us and be at peace. Kofi Annan, I don't know what name you have given him. You have been given. You know the Kalenjin are famed for christening guests. They assign names. What have we christened him? I'm sure someone is just about to call about that name. Anyway, we say thank you. Thank you, Mkapa. Thank you, Machel. Thank you, President Kikwete, the chair of African Union, who arrived yesterday. He is also our neighbor. We also thank President Kibaki because he acknowledged that the country is bigger than any individual. Raila also agreed. Thank you very much to Honorable Raila. You did something very important. This is what we wish for this country, because it is futile if you want power and the people don't want you. You would rather share power, so that if one side does not like you, the other supports you. We stay in peace as a nation. We thank you to them, Raila and Kibaki. Mr. Witness, is that a fair translation of what you heard?
Ndiyo, nimesikia yale ambayo yamesemwa. Sang alikuwa anapongeza kwa dhati hatua iliyochukuliwa na mambo yaliyotokea pale. Alipongeza kila mtu aliyehusika katika mjadala huo. Na akapongeza wote waliohusika.
Thank you, witness. And the last part of it is...
Mr. Kiginkata, before you get to the last part of it, we have 15 minutes to adjournment, and the prosecution would need...
I can advise that the prosecution has no further question for this witness unless something comes up in the next 7 to 10 minutes. Thank you.
Still, let's play it safe.
Nothing is likely to come up. It will be within the same. Now, witness, I additionally said this. We also thank the people from both parties who took part in the talks. Representatives of PNU led by Martha Karua, Mutula Kilonzo, Sam Ongeri, we say, and Wetengula Moses. Have they not done a good job? And their people, their secretaries. On the other side, there is Dr. Sally Kosgei and William...
Pace.
There is Dr. Sally Kosgei and William Samoei Arap Ruto Kipchirchir, together with Orengo and Musalia Mudavadi. They call him Deputy Captain. We also say thank you for the work you have done. We are grateful that you completed the task. We continue to pray that all be well. Witness, you confirm that's also a fair translation of what was said.
Ndivyo, umeelekeza vizuri.
Now, witness, in that paragraph 406, it is said that you said, I remember on 1st March, I tuned to Kass FM. This is when Sang was quoted as saying that the peace accord between Raila and Kibaki had offended Ruto. Mr. Witness, do you recall saying that on 1st March 2008, Sang broadcasted a position to the effect that the peace accord had offended Ruto?
Ndio.
Now, I would like to take you to another part of the transcript so as to answer the question of the circumstances of Mr. Sang on the 1st of March. Mr. President, I'm referring to the second transcript and translation, part 2, reference is Ken-D11-00200026 at page 32. And with your permission, Your Honor, I'll play. Witness, kindly listen closely. It is in reference to the same audio, Ken-D11-0014-0189.
igwa kabarasta unata agenge eng agenge kongete Eldoret ungeti Eldoret tugul tarik eng ak betamuta kora ing kondoik ak sauti kabasta ke sojini kotesta kusa ak soji somanet ak soji tugul kungi gonyo ngubirok choba kundoiwak aneni Joshua Rapsang no lechinok wikini nyone tugul kumomi kuboto awinje kine komunget kitigen asokobit yawege nyeketestai ing bik tugul jengetu kora ketestai otestai uboiboji kasefem ak wankirip K ak ukich.
Now, witness, I would like you in your own words to give us a very brief summary of what Mr. Sang said in reference to coming week.
Aliomba watu wakutane kule Eldoret kwa maombi. Maombi ya kupatanisha, maombi ya amani, maombi ya kuombea watu tofauti. Ilikuwa ni maombi.
Mr. President, I think the translator missed out Eldoret, which the witness said. But let me take the witness directly to what I'm interested in because of time. Witness, do you recall having heard Mr. Sang say, "Thank you, may God bless you and lead you. This is Joshua Arap Sang, telling you that I will not be around in the coming week. I'm also going to rest shortly, then I come, we proceed." Do you remember hearing Mr. Sang say that, Mr. Witness, in Kalenjin?
Ndio, alisema hivyo.
And Mr. Witness, you recall that this is an audio of 29th, and the coming week incorporated the 1st of March 2008, when, according to the statement you gave prosecution, Mr. Sang had said the peace accord had offended Mr. Ruto.
Ni hivyo.
Your Honor, I have a few last questions which I must ask in a private session, please.
Private session.
We're in open session, Mr. President.
Now, witness, I've asked you and you've confirmed that you gave information to the prosecution of certain things that were allegedly said by Mr. Sang in the period 20th December 2007 to 30th March 2008. And my question is, did the prosecution ask you to avail them a copies of the audios of what had been said, Mr. Sang said over that period?
Waliniomba audio lakini kawafahamisha sina.
Mr. Witness, thank you so much for your time and for answering my questions. Thank you very much.
Mr. Kiginkatwa, do you have material to tender?
Yes, Mr. President. I wanted to request to tender three items. The first one is a media report from Reports Sans Frontiers. The second one is the audio of the 29th February 2008. And the third item is the translation and transcription of that audio. May I make my first application in respect to the media report? It is tab 1 of our small binder. Reference is Ken-D09-0022-0010. It is a report by Reporters Sans Frontiers. It relates to a period directly relevant to this case, being the period of the 31st December 2007 onwards, and reports that there was a ban on live media coverage by radio and television stations privately owned. This is an issue that has been severally discussed in this court, and I'm sure the prosecution have investigated. We pray that it be admitted, Your Honor.
Ms. Zago?
We have no objection to this specific item. I'll make submission on the next ones.
No objection from the Ruto defense.
The document is admitted as the next in the Sang defense exhibits.
The document KEN D09-0022-0010 will bear the number EVD T D11-00051.
The second one, Mr. President, relates to the audio. Reference Ken D11-0019-0. May I say that again? It is an audio Ken D11-0014-0188. It is in two parts, and the translation and transcription of the first part, the morning part, is Ken-D11-0020-001. The second ERN is Ken-D11-0020-0026. And its audio for the second part is Ken-D11-0014-0189.
Mr. Kigen-Katwa, the second number, the transcript of the audio, is not a correct ERN number. I'm sorry.
Mr. President, we had explained that the ERNs we are reading in respect to the translation and transcription is the ERNs that have been assigned, but they have not yet been placed in the e-court system. And the proposed ERN numbers are Ken D11-0020-0001. And for the second part, it is Ken-D11-0014-0189. 0020-0026. We apologize that we weren't able to do the ERN earlier. As explained earlier, the audio became available to us this morning. We apologize for that that we had to introduce it this late in the day.
Did you say the audio became available this morning or the transcript became available this morning?
It is the transcript and the translation that became available this morning. I apologize if I misspoke. The audio we already disclosed the audio on Thursday last week.
Depending on the ruling, the objections to be made, if any, then the ERN can be sorted out later. Is it possible? Okay, I see a lot of us are nodding. All right, then. Ms. Zago?
Thank you, Mr. President. We do object to the tendering of these two items into the record of the case at this point. The witness has not provided any evidence with respect to authenticity or reliability. What the witness has been able to do is confirm the words that he listened to in the courtroom. There's no information available to the chamber to appreciate the provenance of these videos, this translation and these transcripts, or the audio files. I do note that on previous occasions, similar material was introduced into the record based on an affidavit provided by a certain representative of the CAS-FM. If I'm not mistaken, that affidavit does not cover these two specific items. So even provide that the admission of those documents could be vehicles or channeled through the affidavit of that specific individuals. These two items, and I'm stand to be guided, are not covered by that affidavit. Aside from that, there's no, again, evidence of reliability or authenticity, and the prosecution objects to their admission into evidence at this point. Thank you.
Mr. Fowl?
No objection from the Ruto defense.
All right.
Mr. President, may I go on record, first of all, on the issue of the affidavit? I confirm that, in fact, this audio was not part of what was captured in the affidavit of Mr. Lamon. And the explanation is that it is an issue that falls outside the period that is in the document containing charges. Mr. President, we would still pray that consideration be given to allowing it as an exhibit on two grounds. The first one is that we disclosed it to the prosecution, and they had an opportunity to authenticate it if they were concerned about its authenticity. The second one, Mr. President, is, as is evident from the evidence we have adduced, these are the audios for the direct periods that the prosecution were intending to allege that Mr. Sang made the comments that he said to have made. And for us in the defense, there was absolutely no way other than bringing the audios of that period to answer the question as to whether Mr. Sang said what the prosecution say, or he actually said what the defense say. And so these audios are very directly relevant to the issues raised by the prosecution and are very directly on the specific dates. These are not ambiguous dates. These are very specific dates that the prosecution say constitute the period when Mr. Sang made some inciting comments. For all those reasons and all the circumstances that relate to it, Mr. President, we very much pray that this audio, together with the transcripts and the translation, be admitted as an exhibit in Mr. Sang's defense.
Two difficulties are these. First of all, they're not covered by the affidavit of Mr. Lamon, which you yourself acknowledge. And secondly, on the previous occasions, if I recall, the witnesses would have testified to recognizing the voice of Mr. Sang. That is not the case with this witness. On both bases, the document will not be admitted onto the record. Do you want to mark it for identification?
Yes, Mr. President, I pray that it be marked for identification.
The-
And Mr. President, we will endeavor to get a supplementary affidavit and consult with the prosecution on that issue.
The documents or the materials will be marked for identification for the Sang defense case.
The first audio document bearing number KEN D11 0014 0188 will bear the number MFI T D11 00052. The transcript of this first audio bearing number KEN D11 0020 001 with the ERN number to be confirmed a posteriori will bear the number MFI T D11 00053. The translation of those transcripts bearing number KEN T11 0020 0026 will bear the number MFI T D11 00054. The second audio bearing number KEN D11 0014 0189 will bear the number MFI T D11 00055. All of those documents are public.
And Mr. President, with your accommodation, may I ask that the Ruto Defense PIS be also put on the record? Thank you, Mr. President.
It will be admitted as the next protected information sheet for the Ruto defense.
The PIS provided by the defense for Mr. Ruto related to witness KEN OTP P0637 will bear the number KEN PIS 0001 0097.
Thank you very much. Witness, we have, Ms. Zago, you say there are no questions?
That is correct. We have no questions. Thank you.
Witness, we have come to the end of your testimony in this case. I thank you very much for coming. You are discharged as a witness, and you are also discharged from the summons served upon you to testify. Thank you. And that concludes our sitting for this session. Court will rise.
All rise.